Alright, hey guys. So today I thought I would do a little bit of a different video and talk a little bit about what I do for winter travel in Minnesota and how accessibility changes and kind of what kind of things tend to shift and what I do to counteract that. It's about almost 80 degrees in my apartment and it's about 19 degrees outside. So I'm going to get a few things together and I'll show you kind of what I'm working with for winter travel here in Minnesota. Alright, when in Minnesota or any state in the Midwest, always good to layer up. The wind chill at the moment is 4 degrees and it's chilly out there. So I've got my jacket here. Nothing really to write home about there as far as anything accessibility wise, just going for a toasty jacket. See if I can put it on with one hand while holding a camera. Serviceable. So we'll get that going. But I'm not a fan of going out in the winter. I am a small guy, so I get cold very, very quickly. This coat actually has a like a liner that I can button closed on days like this when it's super windy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll get the rest of the coat situated. Then we'll add more of this whole getup for the cold and show you what I'm working with there and talk a little bit about hats. Alright, well, it's certainly cold. I decided to throw a gaiter on. I don't wear these often at all, but with the wind chills being in the single digits today, I don't really want to risk anything. But now I wanted to talk about something important for me, which is my ears. Being a small guy, I lose heat through them pretty fast. So today, right now, I've got the gaiter on. I didn't do a very good job of getting the coat around the thing, so we'll work on that. But I lose a lot of heat through my head. The long hair certainly helps there, but through the ears, I need to be able to hear, and that does not change just because it's cold outside. But for me personally, I'm willing to sacrifice that just a touch bit, and so I tend to use a somewhat unusual hat, I suppose. That being this guy right here. Let me, again, trying to do things with one hand and hold a camera. Not an easy thing, but get her in here. So I'm a fan of a trooper hat. This guy right here. I find that it's about the only hat that'll help actually keep me warm. So hopefully you can still hear me okay. We're covering the face. That's kind of the end goal here. And we'll zip up, we'll grab a few things, and head outside and talk a little bit about what I do out of doors. So here we go. Alright, don't mind the mess, but one thing that I forgot to talk about is these guys right here. These are my gloves. And I use, these are called lobster gloves. I'll show you why. See if I can get in here with one hand. Not really going to happen here. I'm going to hold the camera, but the conundrum I run into with gloves is that I need to be able to hold things, but I lose circulation in my fingers almost instantly, especially on days like this. So these are called lobster gloves. It's kind of the equivalent of the Star Trek sign. So I've got two of my fingers together, and so the four fingers are split in the middle, with my pointer and middle finger being on the right, my thumb and pinky, or I can't talk, my ring finger and pinky on the left, thumb's on its own. Primary purpose of that is to be able to do things like this and still be able to hold the cane enough to kind of get a grip on it and that kind of thing. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm actually going to grab two canes and batten down the hat. I'll meet you guys outside and we'll talk about winter travel a little bit. Alright, well, we've been at this intersection before in my other accessibility video that I've done, so I figured I would come back here, talk a little bit about two different kinds of canes. Now, in the summertime, I tend to use this guy right here. This is called a telescoping cane. And to demonstrate that, I'm happy we don't have any snow and ice on the roads, but I'll just use this this pillar here on the building. So if I'm walking along, this has got to be out in front of me to protect me. But the problem with this kind of cane is, especially in the cold, the material retracts just a little bit more easily. You know, it's carbon fiber, but I've noticed that it does get affected a little bit, especially when it's real cold like this. So if I walk into this pillar, I don't know if you can see that, but I'll over-exaggerate it, and it pushes right down to the point where this is now a storage cane. So we're going to stick her in a pocket of my jacket here and talk a little bit about why I switch canes in the winter. So this guy has these rubber joints here. It's going to be hard to demo this with one hand, but we'll do this and I'll show you. So it collapses differently, but I have to pull. And this bungee line here is what kind of keeps the cane together. But what that means, if I kind of knock her back up this way again, and we come back here, and I walk into this pillar, this thing's not going anywhere. So when the roads may or may not be shoveled and things like that, and there's ice chunks, and we get into that part of the winter where everything's just kind of frozen in place, this kind of cane really helps me get around. Now, the other issue you have, say I'm getting ready to cross the street here at this intersection. This is a white cane, and in the winter, what's snow if not white? And so I don't have a great solution there. At night, I tend to wear a high visibility vest. I used to walk to and from work every day, and it would be dark by the time I got home. So I would wear a high visibility vest, and that would help a little bit. So that's something that I need to be vigilant about at night. During the day, you know, I have a giant fir monster head and a 5.5 foot tall stick, so I would hope that that would be enough. But if it was real stormy and gray, I might wear the vest during the day as well. So as far as more accessibility things, you know, it's hard to know exactly what you're going to need. Winter travel is it's everybody's. You know, you have your own battle. So for me with the hat, you know, I tend to lose the hearing a little bit. But then I travel a little slower. I pay more attention to what I'm hearing. And if I really need to, I'll pull the flaps right up, buckle the buckle right on top of my head if I'm at a busy intersection like this, where I can't depend on beeping signals, and even traffic patterns are complicated. We've talked about this intersection a little bit, and it's not the only one of its kind in Rochester. To be honest, I avoid going downtown quite a bit. I don't like to get out much in the winter, not just for accessibility reasons, but even just in the 10 minutes or so I've been out here filming, I'm losing circulation in my fingers. And that may or may not be because I'm not wearing gloves at the moment, but even with gloves, that might extend that another minute or two, but not much. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions about how I get around in the winter, questions about canes, any suggestions, or things that you'd like to see me cover, I'm happy to do all of that. If you have any questions about Rochester specifically, I do have one other video in much nicer weather talking a little bit about accessibility over in this part of town, as well as the skyways and the subways here in Rochester. But if there's anything else you'd like to see me do, let me know. Thanks for checking this out, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.